Hey everyone, and welcome back to 4-Wheel Builds. In today's episode, we'll continue working on the C450 AMG and getting it prepared so you can go out to the paint shop. The date is quickly coming up on me, so I gotta make it happen, and by the end of this episode, this car is gotta go off and get painted. Okay, so the rear lamp has been removed. Now before I maybe get onto the bumper and get that removed, let's head on the inside and let's get this steering wheel airbag removed to make sure we can get that sent off and get that repaired. And the same goes for the seatbelts, although the two front ones seem to be okay, but the rear seatbelts are locked up. If you can see, they're really tight. Let's get these sent off so we can get them repaired as well. Now for the rear belts, just to take the tightness of them in the first place, what you do is just come in from the front, grab it about midway and pull it right up. And then once you pull it up, you should be able to get the back out as well. Just give it a good old tug. And once you do that, you've got the bolts for the rear seat belts. And there we go. Our seat belts are now loose. We put the bolt back so we don't lose that. Now, I've never taken a Mercedes apart in the back, so must admit I'm running a little bit blind here, but I think what we need to do first is undo these bolts here, and that is going to allow us to remove this whole side piece. Need to slide it down a little bit, and that's that side bolster out. And what I did is, by looking down this piece here, I can see there's a whole bunch of clips that just pop in all along this edge here. So I'll grab some of these, I guess, trim tools and see if I can get that popped off. Good. Well, seems I'm getting somewhere, just not quite sure where. So I believe I actually need to remove the bottom trim and work my way up to the top. I think I need to undo this bolt to be able to get this piece out. Let's do the other side and then we should be able to get this off. Okay, I think there's still something holding it here. Okay. I must say this is one tough cookie for someone that doesn't know what they're doing. Let's undo one screw at the rear here. And I have a few clips and that screw. So let's put the screw back. Okay, there's still something holding it here. Oh yeah, there's a screw there. Okay, let's see if I can pop the remainder of the trim off now. Okay. Alright, there's the seat belt. Okay, so now we've got to unplug the pyro fuse. Orange bit needs to come up and then unplug it. So let me see if I can get closer and get this undone. Got a small flathead screwdriver and lift this up. There we go. I hope you've seen that. The whole thing popped out. Alright, and there's only one nut that's actually holding the seatbelt in place. Okay, there it is. Once again, it's a CRX 45. We can drag the whole thing out. Okay, now let's get the left hand side done as well. I won't repeat the process for you. Let's just get it done off camera. Plastic out. This single bolt, it's a TX25. And once we've got that undone, this should just pull down and slide out. And now our whole seatbelt assembly should just pop up. Okay, so that's our seatbelt completely out. And now we can get it redone so we can reinstall it back in the car. So guys, now we've got all of our airbags and seatbelts that need to be redone out of the car. Okay, so let's get everything into the box so I can take it down and get this sorted out, and we can reinstall it back in the car finally. And finally the steering wheel airbag. Whilst we're waiting for the airbags and the seatbelts to come back, let's get this bumper off. The trim in the boot is out, so it's going to be easier to get this lamp off. So undoing the rear lamp gives us access to these tabs that we need to pop off in order to be able to get the bumper off. Got the bumper off, so let's take a quick look at it. So first of all, I guess the crack that we did see a little bit earlier, so that's it right there. It is quite big. But one thing I did note is that the plastic is actually quite thick, so I think there shouldn't be any problems in being able to stick a staple in it to get this brought together. On the other side, there's also a crack, a much smaller one, plus there's some scratching which needs to get fixed up. There's actually a crack on the support that supports the bracket that then holds the actual exhaust tip, and that needs to be welded together, and that needs to be welded together well to ensure that it holds that up. And I think what I'll do is I'll dismount this exhaust tips past this rear diffuser, so just leave the shell and we'll just work with that. There's various scratches on the bumper in multiple places. Needs to get resprayed anyway, so that's not a big deal. The exhaust tip, at least this one, is loose. It's leaning on a stand at the moment, but it is loose, so we'll even stack on using a zip tie, which is kind of cool for a exhaust tip. And I think the biggest issue at the moment I can see is this piece, which I've luckily got. It needs to be secured there to ensure that we've got a good hold of the tip of the bumper along the rear wheel arch. Plus the bracket for the proximity sensor at the back is also come off in a couple places, which is actually quite good because I'll be able to get better access to the rear here, and then we can put this back once we're done. Alright, so let me maybe see if I can get this rear diffuser off. So we're just left with the shell. Okay, so I've got everything stripped down. Now we just need to start prepping the bumper shell for that to get plastic welded. So I guess next thing is, where do I start? There you guys, there's our first repair. One of the staples actually went through, but that's okay, I'll sand this down, it shouldn't be much of a problem. I will grind this down, actually fill it up with plastic as well, and here's how it looks on the other side. And I'll be cutting all those staples off. Not overly hard, but obviously you need to be careful not to actually push the staple right through. So I just put my hand there to prevent the cut-offs from hitting the lens. Okay, so now we've got these big cracks stapled. Not ideally even, but very, very close. We'll have to grind this down and fill it up with plastic anyway. Well, I think I've put enough staples in there. It's kind of looking like Frankenstein. So the last bit that we've got to do is this tab right here. need to hold this in place and at the same time get the staple put in and hopefully get everything aligned. Okay, so we've got the staples in, we'll grind them down and then we'll plastic weld the tab on just to give it extra strength. I was trying to put some plastic on here. The whole tab was, I guess, getting a little bit out of shape, so what I'll decided to do is actually put some mesh in here. Just reworking the plastic, just make sure everything's nice and straight. So guys, this is how the tab looks after I've finished. As you can see, nice and strong now. Still got to cut out the mesh, so I'll go get that drilled out, get it prepared. But I could say that tab is done. Oh, so now on this big crack, now that it's been stapled, I need to run a groove with a die grinder and cut in so I can place some plastic in there, get these sides bonded together once again. Okay, and we've got the crack plastic welded. It's looking quite good. I've sanded it down. Now I'm just gonna give it a skim of plastic Bondo just to make sure that we've got it all nice and even. Sand that down and that should be good to go. And it is the very next day, guys. It is a bit of a scorching day here today, so I'm not quite sure if I actually feel like doing the bumper, but today is just, it's bloody hot. So what I might actually do is get onto the seat belts and the airbags. So let's maybe get these installed and get them connected up. The seat belts, well, it's just a matter of getting this bolt out, slotting it back in place and connecting it up. So connect the pyro fuse. So that's one done. And now let's get the right hand side done as well. And having both of the rear seat belts in, next thing you want to do is get this little sucker in. This is the driver's knee airbag, which goes underneath the dashboard right there. And I do hope I'll remember how to pull all this stuff back together again, because this was quite a while since I removed this. I've got to put this back, plus put all the under trays and all that things back in there so we can, I guess, finalize the driver's side. So guys, we've got the knee airbag done, the seats now done. Only with the two front bolts, the two back bolts still need to connect once we connect the power. So the only thing that remains to do is get this airbag into the steering wheel. So let's get this airbag installed. First we've got to plug in the connector. And now we've got to get these two prongs to clip on to the wires. And there it is. All done. And guys, check out what I bought this morning. And what I got is a new bumper. I was going to say brand new, but it's not a brand new bumper. It's a new bumper. It's newer to the one I've got. But as you can see, this bumper is not cracked. It's a bit scratched, but that's okay. It has to be painted anyway. It's in one piece. No cracks, no nothing. But you're saying, Darius, you already had a bumper and you were fixing it up. You were plastic welding it. Yes, I was. I have plastic welded it. But at the same time, plastic welding is okay. Don't get me wrong. But the deal I got on a nut bumper is actually really good. So I thought I'll snap it up. With this, I guess my worry is bumpers are flexible. I mean, the filler you get is flexible as well. I'm not quite sure as to if it's that flexible. Wasn't sure if over time it's going to start cracking or anything like that and start flaking off. And you know, like I said, because the deal on that bumper was just so cheap that it was a crime not to buy it. So the only issue with this bumper is this is loose. Only really holds the cable, so that's not a major issue. But let's see if we can get some heat onto this and get this plastic welded back into the bumper. So that's nicely secured on there now. And a few minutes later, we've got all the modules, brackets, everything transferred across, all the parking sensors. And now this bumper is ready to jump on the car. So let's go and give it a trial fit. And guys, the bumper is fitted. Just some minor adjustment needed, I think it's in this area. Other than that, it's sitting quite well. So guys, the bumper is on. I've just put the lights in, mocked them up. They're looking quite good as well. Alright, so now let's go get the car started and see some of these errors will disappear. And guys, not sure if you can see, but the steering wheel has actually come out. Oh, what? Our steering wheel is working. Guys, wow, okay, cool. Alright, let's get the car started. Front left malfunction. Rear left malfunction. But the distronic stuff has disappeared now. Now that we've got all the radars connected. Cool. Awesome. I'm actually now operating the steering wheel. I can move it up and down, in and out. Okay, so a lot of those errors have now disappeared, which is fantastic. That's a few more less things to worry about. And now let's go try something that I've seen on YouTube. And I'm sort of wondering if actually it's going to work or not. So I'm not quite sure if you're going to be able to tell, but the door's tinted here. It's just attach in. I'm not quite sure if I'll put this aluminium straight edge here. You might see there's a gap in between the door and the aluminium right towards the end here. That gap should not be there. If I do the same on the right hand side, as you can see, there's no gap. What I have seen is that people have glued the top of a bottle with some hot glue to the dent and then pull it out. So let's give this bottle method a try and let's see if those YouTubers indeed tell the truth or they lie. So here's the dent I've got. So let's get some hot glue, put on a bottle, stick it to here and see if we can get this dent pulled out. Let's get this bottle, put some hot glue on there. Let's stick it to the spot that we want. And let's let the glue cool down and see what happens. And let's give this a tug and see if it works. Wow, that's really stuck on there. So guys, to summarize, this method with the bottles and a hot glue gun actually works. I've been able to pull the dent out. Next thing is to put these windshield, I guess, trim pieces on. But in order to do that, first I need to get these yellow clippy things installed right here, because I broke these when I was taking them off. They just slide on from the top, and now we should be able to just that's one done. Let's get the other side done now. And that's our windshield trim done as well now. Now that we've got our windscreen wipers on, let's put some wiper fluid in here so we can make sure that first of all the new tank doesn't leak, and secondly, when we put the wipers on, we can try them out. Doesn't hold much fluid, it's not very much at all. Okay, it is what it is. And now that we know we do not have any leaks from the windshield washer reservoir that's located right there, I can put this left hand side arch liner in. Now that we've got the transmission fluid topped up, we just got to put the shield in and then we should be good to go. Well, all the fours are on, just these little triangular pieces that go here need to be put on, so let me get that done and then we'll be able to put the wheels on. Finally! Alright, let's get going. So let me quickly jump underneath the car and see if I can get some of these on. Mercedes C450 is outside. It is looking magnificent. Well, maybe not magnificent as yet. I will give it a bit of a wipe down now, or wash down. I'll get all that dust and crap off it and make it look cleaner once again. Okay, now we've got the car washed. It is a few days later. I actually went on leave to the seaside, the Polish seaside. Got a bit of a tan going on, as you can see. But one of the things I did find when we drove the car outside is that the gears were not changing as they should be. I believe it is because the transmission fluid is a little bit low. So I got another bottle, plus I got this little contraption, which is I guess a pump that's going to allow me to pump the fluid into the transmission. So let me get this car lifted up once again and let's get this fluid topped up and see if that's going to change anything. Now guys, I've got the car up in the air. I've checked it with the spirit level. It is relatively level. For this you actually need to have the car well as level as you possibly can. Get that cracked. Okay. Well, effectively nothing's leaking out, which is, I guess in this case, a positive thing. Alright guys, I went for another drive after I filled the transmission oil, and it's not good news, I must admit. I got it to fill up until it was dripping once again. It wasn't all that much. I put another maybe half a liter, maybe 600 milliliters into the transmission, but it wasn't all that much. I went out for a drive, off camera, I must admit, but the transmission is still not changing all that smoothly. So the date to the paint shop has come up on me. We've got to get this car out the door, get it painted. So I've got a tow truck. It's going to come tomorrow, going to pick up the car, and it's going to drop that off to the paint shop. And then once it's painted, we'll start looking at the transmission and maybe visit the V12 garage boys, and hopefully we can get this transmission sorted out, because as I mentioned, we do not have the funds for this anymore. The Mercedes C450 AMG has gone out the door. It's gone to the paint shop to get painted. I have achieved what I set out in this episode, and that is to get the car ready to get out the door. Unfortunately, it wasn't on its own four wheels. I wasn't able to drive it there. It had to be on a tow truck, but we will get that transmission sorted out. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and if you did, please consider subscribing, leave us a comment, leave us a like, and make sure you come back to the channel and watch the next episode of the C450 AMG rebuild project. See you guys then. Peace.